Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. Bet $50 at WinBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WinBet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. You already play fantasy on Sleeper, but now you can win cold hard cash with our over or under game. Head to sleeper.com/SGP on your phone to join the SGPN group, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. That's sleeper.com/SGP. And we're brought to you by Ipvanish. Ipvanish is the official VPN of SGPN, and they're offering 70% off if you go to ipvanish.com/SGP. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. And make sure to check our new Discord server, the perfect place to interact and sweat bets with the entire SGPN crew. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Welcome along, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford. I am here in the northeast of England, in Newcastle upon Tyne. You might have seen the news. It's incredibly hot. Houses are spontaneously bursting into flames. It's gone a little bit mad, I'll be honest with you. But I've been out and played football tonight, so I'm all right. Joining a bit of soccer, yes, bit of five-a-side, fat old man soccer. But it was. I'll tell you what, I was magnificent as well, which is always a nice touch. Joining us, what we're going to do tonight is talk about how we feel about the first half of the season, the win totals that we gave out at the start of the season, and some player props if we've got any touting to do, or some of our worst picks. And then we'll give some leans and picks for the second half of the season. Little three-man team tonight. And joining us first off from, I assume, just as hot as where I am, Houston, Texas, is Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, how you doing?
Doing well. Definitely hotter here. It's summertime here in Texas. We're getting into 100-degree temperatures, so keep your ass inside.
Fair enough. And also wearing his Pittsburgh Pirates hat tonight, Mr. Noah Bennick. Noah, what's happening?
It's going pretty good, Malcolm. Not quite the Pittsburgh Pirates hat. It's actually my college hat.
Is it?
Over there in Pittsburgh. So, yeah, so the Triple P, the Point Park Pioneers. But anyways, last night was electric. I think I handicapped that thing correctly. I had Julio Rodriguez winning that thing. He hit 83 home runs, but Juan Soto with 51 ended up taking the crown, the necklace, and the trophy.
Yeah, we did okay, I think. If you'd put a lot of our picks together, I think there was enough profit there to be had. You gave out a little play on Rodriguez to win. I think myself and Munaf both had Soto was the longest home run. A little bit of, I had 4-1. I think Munaf got the fancy price at 5-1. So I think we did okay between us, and it was lots of fun. I enjoyed the little bits of highlights that I saw this morning. So we're going to crack straight on. Lots to get to tonight. So these divisional win totals, I'll try and maybe include Dylan's as well, because we recorded a lot of pre-season pods and things like that. I'll lead off with the all of mine. I'll do them one at a time. So the AL East, as well as the New York Yankees being my pick, but we're not discussing the picks tonight. It was your best. We picked a best total for each division. And I went right down to the bottom here. I took Baltimore at plus 62.5. So I think, unless something terrible happens, I'm probably over the line already with that one. Baltimore have come into this break at 46-46. So yeah, another 17 wins. I will get Baltimore over the line there for me. The AL East, Munaf and Noah both had the New York Yankees at 91.5. It looks like that one's gone for a Burton. And Dylan Rockford took Boston at 85.5, which looks like, I don't know, photo finish there. But Munaf, yeah, the New York Yankees. I think they've surprised quite a lot of people. There was quite a lot of naysaying about them. Johnny was down on them. Quite a lot of people were down on them. But they look like they're going to smash that 91.5 out of the park.
Yeah, Yankees look good. I mean, best record in MLB here at the All-Star break. They've done it both hitting and pitching. And they've been relatively healthy. I know they've been bitten by the injury bug the past couple of seasons, but Aaron Judge having an MVP caliber year in a contract year. Stanton has been great for them, and they've put it together. The bullpen over the past couple of weeks has kind of been a slippery slope for them. But other than that, 64-28, they're gonna put my money up in flames here. But a great season so far for the Yankees.
Okay, next up we'll go to the Yale Central, and we'll let Noah talk us through this one. I took Minnesota here at 81.5, which looks all right. They are 532 winning percentage so far, so something similar in the second half will get them there. Moon after Cleveland at under 76.5. That one looks a little bit ropey as well. Noah with his Detroit Tigers over 77.5. Good luck with that one. And the Kansas City Royals, Dylan Rockford, took the under at 74.5. That one looks home and host. And Noah, talk us a little bit through this division and where it's gone so wrong for your Tigers, because there was a lot of talk about how good they were going to be. Oh, Noah's gone. I've just looked at my screen and Noah's disappeared. Okay, the right moon. I'll throw this across to you then. Minnesota looks like it's going to cash here for me. Cleveland, we thought would maybe go into proper tank mode. There was talk about Ramirez leaving. Mm-hmm. They would look to be in complete and utter teardown, and they're actually going along at slightly over 500 here. So, yeah, we got that one. I didn't pick them, but I would have taken the under with you. So I think we got that one wrong.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think a couple of days later after we finished recording that AL Central preview that we went from hearing trade rumors of Jose Ramirez to him signing an extension with the Cleveland Guardians. Yeah. And I think the one thing that I was really down on was their offense this year. And, they've had guys step up outside of Jose Ramirez in that lineup, and it's, they're still in the division there. They're only 2 games back. So this one also doesn't look like it's going to get over the line for me.
Yeah, this is the one division that's still a 3-horse race. We've got one division that's a 2-horse race, and all the rest look pretty much as if there's one team going to run away with it. So, yeah, Cleveland have kept everybody honest here. Next up is the AL West, where my pick was, oh dear, here's my first loser of the night, the LA Angels over 83.5. I probably could have hedged that after about 14 days of the season when they got off to an absolute flyer. But they've absolutely stunk the place out since. Moonaf, you look like you're getting on the board here with the Oakland A's at 71.5. And you took the under.
Yeah, Malcolm. We talked about this. This was something that I think really helped me when we were talking about the division previews, was that this team was going to be on a fire sale. We saw that they traded Matt Olson. They traded Matt Chapman. They got rid of some of their other guys as well in that batting lineup. And, there's still a possibility that they get rid of or trade, Paul Blackburn and Frankie Montas as we kind of approach the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. But, being in that division where, the Astros right now are owning that division, Texas got a little bit better in that division. We thought that the Angels played great in the first 2 months, but after that kind of, fell back to what we know the Angels are. But the Oakland A's were the one team that were going to suffer, and all the issues that they're having with their front office and trying to get a new stadium there, and fans kind of not showing up to games and not having the attendance there. I think that this win projection was really high up for them. And right now they're sitting at 32-61. They'll probably have to win about 40 games in the second half. And obviously I don't think that is going to happen for them.
Yeah, so it looks like you're going to get on the board there. Noah had the same pick as well, the Oakland A's with the under. Noah, his back, the Wi-Fi has come back to life for him. He's just gone again. The minute I said that, he literally disappeared from view. I was going to try and throw it back to the Tigers for Noah. Okay, we'll move down to the NL East, where my pick here was the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh, actually, Noah's back. So while Noah's back, he looks a bit frustrated with his technology. Noah, we need you to tell us about the Detroit Tigers. We're going to throw this back to the AL Central and why the Tigers are nowhere near their projection.
Yeah, so I'm frustrated with my technology right now, but I'm even more frustrated with this team because they were supposed to be much better than the way they're playing right now. And, to throw salt in the wound, they just sent down Spencer Torkelson, who honestly was probably one of the worst baseball players in all of the MLB. I mean, you just wanted to see him get some reps in the MLB, and that's why they let him go for the whole first half. But I mean, under 200, and he really hasn't done anything of what he was advertised to be. So it's kind of been a little disappointing. I was going to wear a Lions shirt. I couldn't quite find mine. I don't know where it's at, but everybody in Detroit's already kind of moved on. It's been quite sad what this, team has turned into. And I don't want it to be a whole rant, but it's just like our front office has missed on free agent signings left and right since 2014. We've gotten fleeced in trades since 2014 with us being in this rebuild. And then you look at the Austin Meadows, Isaac Paredes trade. Meadows has played maybe 30 games for us, and then Paredes is over there hitting 10 home runs in the first half, and Meadows has 0. So it's just like a quick summary of just my frustration with this team, because I was actually pretty high on them coming into the year. I took the over. That was one of the only plays that I said on the full season preview because I missed the divisions that you guys were in. So, but yeah, I mean, just pretty frustrating on that.
Yeah, I mean, part of that was the stellar second half that they'd had last season, and even up till now, you whatever date it was that you told us the Tigers were then going to start winning, because that was the date that they started winning last season, and that didn't happen. But players you can list them. Robbie Grossman, I don't know what to him. Akil Purdue was a real weird one. He was getting drafted high in draft. He was power and speed, and he's gone. He's just disappeared from view.
Yeah, he's back now, but they sent him down to AAA throughout the whole first half.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and this pitching staff, they were very promising. They had 3 young guns going with Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, and Matt Manning. Mize is out with UCL injury, and Matt Manning has had shoulder injury that we have heard nothing about. And Erod, Eduardo Rodriguez, literally left the team and has not communicated with the team for a damn month. Like, what kind of front office is this to let your number one free agent signing go? And I don't want to speak on what's going on because I don't know what's going on with Rodriguez, and that's part of the reason why he's not talking to the whole team. But literally your number 2 guy that you signed in the offseason is not communicating with your team. There's a little bit of a problem there.
Yeah, absolutely. That A-Rod one. I was going to ask you about that, but you've just filled us in on that. Long story short, Tigers is a loser. NL East, we'll move on to. My pick was the Philadelphia Phillies, over 85.5. Photo finish, I think, there. Currently at 533, so the juice out on that one. You two both have got it. I worked this out, and you've got a push at the moment. I think Miami at 473. You both took the Miami Marlins over 76.5, which would currently be a push. Dylan Rockford took the Nats under 61.5, which is also looks like it's going to be a push. So the division itself is relatively tight. This is actually a 2-horse race as well. I said earlier on there was only one division that is a 2-horse race, but this one is. But we didn't touch Mets or Atlanta, but the other 3 are all going along Moonaf pretty much as expected.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be photo finishes here. I know the Marlins need to go about 34 and 37 to get over their win total. The pitching is there for this team, right? We talked about Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara. Tyler Rogers has been the one player that has really struggled for the Miami Marlins so far this year. And I think that, if he's able to turn it around here a little bit, if Miami can, win a couple games or put a small winning streak together, I think that they can get over this number. But right now they do have the 12th most difficult schedule left in the entire MLB. They have 7 games against the Dodgers, 8 against the Mets, and 10 against the Braves. So it's gonna be a interesting finish, I guess we can say, to watch as our win totals, as we get into the second half with about most teams having about 70 to 71 games left.
Next, the NL Central. This is my big L. The Chicago Cubs over 75.5. I actually, if you remember, gave the Cubs out to win the division at 10-1 roundabout. Yeah, that didn't last long. They've actually, do you know what? This total wouldn't be such a disaster, but they've only won one of the last 10, which has completely and utterly knocked a hole in it. They've won 35 games, so there's no way they got to that total. So you can stick that in the L column for me. Moonaf, you took Cincinnati under 75.5, which I reckon you're probably okay due to that horrible start they had. Dylan and Noah both took the Brewers here at 88.5, which might well be a push as well. I worked that out as a push earlier on as well. And the Brewers, I can't quite work the Brewers out, Noah. How do you feel about this total in the second half?
Well, so I like the Brewers. I like their pitching staff, and that was the main reason why I took it. And you looked at them last year; they had 89 wins, so it was like just over that 88.5. And the NL Central was one of those that I didn't quite have a good grasp on, because you were high on the Cubs, and I was like, yeah, the Cubs could be promising here. The Cardinals were also there last year, and then you had the Brewers, who struggle on offense, but this pitching staff is so good. And I really like how they might have Freddie Peralta here for most of the second half coming up, and that is one reason that I still feel kind of comfortable in it. But later on in the podcast, I think I'm higher on another team in this division.
Okay, there might be a team ride earlier on, Noel, reading between the lines there, because me and Moonaf chatted offline earlier on, so we'll see if you've got on board.
Oh, no.
The NL West finally. I love these bum teams when I'm picking. I had Arizona at plus 66.5, which I think I'm comfortable with. I think should get over the line. Dylan took the Padres under 89.5. Photo finish for him, maybe. San Diego currently 553. And then you two boys had the Dodgers at over 90. The line was around about 96.5. I've got Moonaf's claiming he got it at 95.5. Noah's claiming he got it at 97.5. So I don't quite know which to believe. So I'll give you 96.5. Either way, it looks like it'll get to 100 wins, Moonaf. And the Dodgers haven't had the competition that they faced last year when the Giants surprised everybody.
I thought I put 97.5 on the sheet. Is that not
Did
right?
you? It's possibly my writing, mate. It could be my writing.
Yeah, Dodgers, I mean, they're just winning games. I mean, it's no better way to put it, right? They're just winning games. I mean, this roster is talented, especially on their batting lineup. When you have a top 3 of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, you want to go further down that list. Justin Turner had a great last week or the past couple of weeks as they kind of got into the All-Star break. The pitching staff. Clayton Kershaw has looked great since he came back from the IL. Julio Urias is doing his thing. Tyler Anderson. We've talked about this pitching staff a lot. Tony Gonsolin, another name that we've talked about a lot. And oh, by the way, they're going to get Walker Buehler back. So hopefully if he's able to return to form for this team, they should clear 100 wins easily.
Yeah, I agree with you. Walker Buehler coming back is a huge reason in that. And the other reason, I don't think they've actually played their best ball yet.
You're right, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think unquestionably that you two will cash that little Dodgers pick as well. And my Diamondbacks at the other end of the division should get there over. A lot of these lines that you're going to hear us talk about tonight will be found at the Win Bet, where you can use the bet $50 to win $200 promotion. A $50 bet will qualify you for up to $200 in free bets. If you're betting baseball, check out the Win Bet. Their reduced juice in baseball games makes it the best place to bet MLB. The Fantasy Football Experience contest is still running as well. If you bet $500 or more on sports or casino before July the 31st, you'll be entered to win the ultimate fantasy football draft experience at Encore Beach Club, including the 2-night stay at Wynn Resorts for you and your entire league, Multiple entries are allowed. Loads to choose from. All you have to do is head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bets today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Okay, before we move on to our second half picks, I had a little look at some of the player props that we'd fetched out pre-season, some of our previews. Not the awards markets, but the home runs, hits, and RBIs, and then K saves and wins for the pitchers. So the home run market, Noah and myself were the two who've got a live runner in this, and it's Yordan Alvarez. Now, obviously, Aaron Judge has got he's got a handy lead. Yordan Alvarez has just had what looks like a tactical week on the IL. I think a little bit of hand inflammation, but it was just to get that little extended break. Now, Alvarez has hit 26 bombs. He's 7 behind. I still quite like him as well. I wrote an article for sportsgamblingpodcast.com in June for the rest of season bets and picked Alvarez as a possible MVP candidate. So Noah, 7 dingers behind Aaron Judge. Is that catch-upable?
Yeah, I think it's catchable, and I think Yordan Alvarez is a very, very streaky hitter. You look up 1 week and he's going to have 5 bombs, and he's kind of in that conversation again. It's just Judge, he, for the last, 15 games here into the All-Star break, was slumping. So is Judge going to come out of the All-Star game and just be like streaking again with home runs in every other game like he was at the beginning and, April, May, June? The end of June, early July has really allowed Yordan to make this thing look interesting. I'll say that.
And it's one IL stint away from flipping on its head, like you said. And I think that there's teams in these slightly less competitive divisions that will not rest players, but again, a tactical IL stint for some of these players towards the end of the season. Like the Dodgers had their Giants on their tail. Well, they're not going to have them this year. So the possibility of players just getting a little 10-day or a 15-day IL stint, something like that. And Judge is certainly in that category because he's been, Insano's just used the words uncharacteristically healthy in the first half in the chat box there, which is exactly right. Beautifully put. So, yeah, I've got no problem with Alvarez. We put him up at 20-1 at the start of the season. So definitely a live runner there. Hits leader, Noah, you are the closest here. You've got Trey Turner. You picked Trey Turner, who is currently sitting in 4th in that market. He is only 3 behind as well. It's very tight at the top of that market. I don't know what price. Do we have a price on that?
Plus 225. He's a favorite.
Okay, so 12-1. Noah, you took that early with the season, plus 225 now. So a sneaky little chance there for you, Noah.
Yeah, I actually really like where Trey Turner's sitting right now. He's one of the ones that I jotted down notes on when we're going to talk about, just run through a couple of MVP candidates here, because he's still there, and this is a guy that he's going to be playing for a contract because he finally got that shortstop position at the Dodgers with Corey Seager leaving, and he's taking advantage of it right now. That's for sure.
In the RBIs market, I'll be honest, nowhere near 12th. Matt Olson, my pick, is the closest we've got near the top. Don't worry, Munaf, I haven't left you out here. We're coming on to your category now. So for the pitchers, top of the strikeout market, and Dylan Cease, you have the current leader, Munaf, 15-1. You put him at the start of the season. Talk us through how confident you are that he can hang on to that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great in the first half of the season, right? Obviously, we talked about him a lot when we were doing the division previews as well, and he just has nasty pitches. I mean, Noah could attest to this. He's a pitcher himself, so he just has the stuff to strike out guys, and he puts up close to almost 8+ strikeouts per game every time he's out there pitching. And I think that he's in a good spot right now. I know Garrett Cole is, I think, right behind him as a second favorite. But right now, Dylan Cease is the, I think, leader in the clubhouse right now at plus 275 to be the strikeout leader. So hopefully back-to-back seasons, Malcolm, where we pick the strikeout leader.
Yeah, well, I've got Corbin Burns parked in fourth place, only 6 strikeouts behind. So I'm not ruling myself out in that little market just yet. The saves market, we're back to Noah again. Noah's been hot so far tonight. And Kenley Jansen, who's sitting in third place in that, what's the word I'm looking for? In that
category.
Race to be in the category to be the saves leader. Munaf, you put up Jordan Romano, who's doing okay. He's in the top 10, who's a little bit far back. But
he had the best April and May, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Who? Romano?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept seeing his name pop up every night, and it made me wince every time because I'd sort of downplayed him. But I talked to Kenley Jansen because you made a really good case for him. I remember at the start of the season.
Yeah, this is a guy that, he was traded from the Dodgers to the Braves, and maybe not traded. It was free agency. It was one of the two. Goes from the Dodgers to the Braves, and the Dodgers fan base at the end of the year last year just kind of grew comfortable with Jansen, but he was still it was more of a heart attack guy as a closer. He'd get a runner on based on a walk or a hit and get him in the scoring position, but he'd still get that save. So I was looking at it. This is a guy that's going to be coming into the season with some attitude. He did have an injury that he's been out for with the last 2 weeks or so, and I actually picked up AJ Minter as a closer in fantasy baseball for 2 weeks, and he did me well too. It's just this Braves team is in position to get this bullpen some saves, and I really liked the angle of Jansen just kind of playing for his reputation,
Yeah, I was just trying to work out what price you put Jansen up at the start of the season. 14 to 1 there, Noah. So that's, I think, 3 fancy double-figure prices that you have going live.
Yeah, that was kind of my strategy. I didn't want to take many favorites. That's not quite how I like to roll. And my biggest one that blew up in my face was Michael Kopech. I should have went Dylan Cease everywhere, but It is what it is. I picked the wrong White Sox pitcher.
And finally, in the wins market, Munaf, you took Alec Manoa, who has 10 wins. He's 2 off the lead. I went a bit chalky here. I took Garrett Cole, who was 1 behind Manoa. So we've both got a live chance here. I think you had a fancier price than me, though. Wins leader, Garrett Cole. Mine was plus 750. I actually don't have a price written down next to your Alec Manoa pick. It must be maybe about 20 to 1 more, Munaf. I don't know if you can recall on it, but Alec Manoa in a struggling Blue Jays team. They need to have a better second half of this season, and if they do, Alec Manoa is going to be at the forefront of that, I think.
Yeah, I double dipped on Alec Manoa. I took him for wins leader and also took him for Cy Young as well. So he's had a great first half of the season, no doubt, in the American League. It's just that Justin Verlander is having a better season as far as Cy Young and wins as well. So he's right there. His ERA is great at 2.28. You mentioned he has 10 wins, 10 of the 15. 15 of the 18 starts that he's had have been quality starts for Alec Manoa. So they're going to need him to continue to be, in Cy Young form like he was in the first half of the season if the Toronto Blue Jays team wants to turn it around, because this Blue Jays team was the big sexy pick this season coming into the year with all the hype behind them. But Manoa has been great so far. Hopefully he can keep it up in the second half of the season. Yeah,
so the second half of the season is something that we are going to get onto after I've told you about Sleeper, the fantasy football app, which I assume you use. I know I do. But Sleeper have added a game-changing product, unlike anything else in the industry, over there on the app, which is an over or under game where you can make a few quid playing it. If you pick the players that you like and pick their props, i.e. hits in baseball, you can win up to 2 to 20 times the stake that you select by getting them right. The chat feature is really good. Join your friends. You can tail their picks, copy the picks at the tap of a button. Loads of fun to ride out those games and sweat with your friends. So stop what you're doing and download Sleeper to play their over or under game have fun with your friends and make some money. If you use the code sleeper.com/SGPMLB, Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. So join our squad, get the 100% deposit match at sleeper.com/SGPMLB. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Okay. Second half picks then. This is pretty much an open book. You can take anything you want, players, divisions, leagues, overs, unders, any special bets you've got. We will go to, I'll tell you what, we'll let Noah lead off because I've got no idea, Noah, what you might come at us here. So stuff for the second half, what have you got for us?
So I guess I'll go with a team total, but also this team is my team. You know, I think they can win the division, and you know what? I'll maybe win the NL too. I like the St. Louis Cardinals. You guys talked about this maybe offline. Is that the team?
Yep.
Yes, yeah, it is.
This is completely organic, guys, because I didn't talk to them at all, but they like them as well. And let me know if I'm hitting any of these notes correctly. They're currently a half game back of the Brewers for the division lead. They have the easiest remaining schedule in the MLB. They have 11 games against Pittsburgh, 11 games against Cincinnati, and 7 games against Washington. That's 29 of their next 68 games.
Yep.
The trio of starting pitchers, Adam Wainwright, Miles Michaelis, and Dakota Hudson, who's also short. He's on like a short IL stint here, but those three have been way over expectation and really like where all of them are sitting.
Yeah, and aren't they going to get? Is Jack Flaherty gone for the seats, or is he going to be back?
He's on the IL. He's on the IL for 60 days. I think they might get him back in the last month.
Okay.
Has he gone 60 days now? I didn't know that. I thought it was 15 still.
Yeah, 60-day IL.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, so they're trying to get him back for the end of the season. That's something I have further on down here. But off of the IL, you're bringing back players like Harrison Bader, Hudson, like I mentioned, Flaherty, like we mentioned, Yadier Molina. He's been down in the islands where he's from. He's taken the last half of the first half off, and maybe hopefully Alex Reyes, because Reyes was their closer and maybe best. What's the big situation role? I can't think of the setup man or
fireman.
I was looking for a better, different term, but I don't know if you have anything else on those guys that are injured, but I can jump on to the next one if you want me to.
No, I think Munaf pointed out to me an interesting tidbit on the St. Louis Cardinals as well. Munaf, if you want to crack on, if you can remember.
I don't remember what I said.
It was potential trades we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that they're kind of in the run for Juan Soto.
Yeah. So I think like the potential landing spots for Juan Soto is, Cardinals are one of the teams that are being mentioned. If you have 3 guys by the names of Nolan Arenado, Juan Soto, and Paul Goldschmidt on your team, you're gonna score some runs. And there are other guys in this lineup as well that can hit the ball very well. But if you add another power bat next to those 2 guys, look out. And, Noah just talked about the pitching with this St. Louis Cardinals team. They've been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, they're not the big, sexy names, but they're winning games. And I think that's the most important part. And I think it was last week or the week before that, Nolan Arenado kind of called out the team, or just maybe made a thought that, we're not just here to make the playoffs, that we want to make a run in the playoffs, right? And I think that's something that should light not only the clubhouse, but also the front office to maybe make some moves and even improve this team even more. And in a division like Noah talked about, where you're only a half a game behind the Milwaukee Brewers, who, again, haven't really done much to address their offense. We talked about how great their pitching is, probably the best 1, 2, and 3, if not the best in the National League. They really haven't done anything to really address their offense. So at the end of the day, for me, you still have to score runs, and the Cardinals have above average starting pitching. And I think that the value is really there on the St. Louis Cardinals, whether if you want to take a team total right now, the current number is at 86.5 for this team. If you want to take that over, or maybe for them to possibly win the division at plus 140 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll let you come on to your totals in a little minute. Yeah, I back that up completely. I've got the
I have
Cardinals
more on the Cardinals too. I have more notes that I can keep going on, but Mel, keep going.
Yeah, I've got them down at 150. The article that I wrote about the season long best bets in June. Looking for some live underdogs there. I picked the Cardinals to win the division at 12-1, just because they're going to be there. I'm not. I'm out on the Brewers, and a lot of that is actually the eye test. I've watched the Brewers a lot in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they just don't look like they've got enough runs in that team. So I think the Cards can beat them.
The eye test really tricks people up with the Giants and the Brewers the most, because those teams still can win the games. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think the Cards for me. The other team I put up for the division there was the Red Sox at 16-1, which I'm well and truly out on there. But yeah, you can finish off with your Cardinals chat, and then we'll any more divisional picks that we might have.
So this is the best nugget that I have written down. The Cardinals currently have 3 of the top 5 MLB's WAR players. They have Nolan Arenado in second with a 5 WAR. They have Paul Goldschmidt in fourth with a 4.8, and Tommy Edman is fifth with a 4.5 WAR.
Nice.
And then, I mean, my final statement is the Cardinals, they're currently doing this without Tyler O'Neill, who is one of their best players in 2021, and he's been completely invisible in 2022. If they can get O'Neill to wake up and still get contributions from Dylan Carlson, Brendan Donovan, Juan Yepez, and Nolan Gorman, who's come up and played pretty well from the minor leagues, this is a team that will be dangerous in September and October.
Yeah, you're right. I think Tyler O'Neill hasn't had that many at-bats. Like he's been sort of on and off the IL, so he'll be getting back. The AL Central was a division that caught my eye because it's the 3-horse race that we talked about earlier on. You've got the Twins, the White Sox, and the Cleveland Guardians. And like I say, you could throw a blanket over all of them in the standings. The bet for me that stood out was the Chicago White Sox at plus 140. Now, I faded them a lot on the podcast, and I think it's been the sensible thing to do. And we've had some lovely plus price winners taking underdogs against the White Sox. I just think they're close enough to strike. I saw a little bit more from them in the last little road trip they had that was really important before we went into this break. They came out of that having won 7-3 of the last 10 games and got themselves into a competitive position here. Some of the players like Luis Robert, I think, look a little bit better. Eloy Jimenez came back, and I think he's primed for a decent second half of the season. We've already mentioned 2 or 3 of their pitchers already. The Twins haven't done much wrong, but they just ever so slightly underwhelmed me, the Twins. They're projected on Fangraphs to have a second half of the season that's... let me pick it up here. 493. So under 500 for the second half of the season, projected there for Minnesota. Chicago have the second easiest, in fact, depending where you look, the second easiest or the easiest strength of schedule. I've seen both. So I just think at plus 140, I don't think Cleveland can sustain what they've done. So it looks like this will fall into a 2-horse race. But the White Sox at plus 140 look like a cracking bet to me, Munaf.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the one division, Malcolm, we talked about last season when we were watching the NL East down the final 2 weeks, where that was a week that it was going to be determined. I think that this year it's going to be that AL Central where you have 3 teams that are separated by 3 games. You talked about the Twins having a 2-game lead right now. The Guardians are in the mix as well, and the Chicago White Sox. The only thing that kind of scares me about the White Sox is still their manager, Tony La Russa. I mean, I feel like if they would have let him go, that would have probably sparked a fire under this Chicago White Sox team. But he just really makes me nervous. And again, this team is talented enough, both on pitching and in their batting lineup, where they should win games and score runs. But it's just Tony La Russa just makes me really nervous for whatever reason that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Noah. What have you got to say about this race?
This was my favorite team coming into the season, and I still kind of like them, like you said, Malcolm. Like they feel like they showed enough life at the end of the first half that, hey, like they're in striking position, and this is easily a team that I could see go on a huge run. Like they have the pieces. They have Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito, Michael Kopech, Johnny Cueto has stepped up into this rotation. He's been great. He's got 2.80 ERA this year, and you look at Lance Lynn coming back from injury. He hasn't quite been himself, but that's a guy that's been ultra consistent throughout his whole career. That I had him for AL Cy Young. I really believe in this guy. I really like his repertoire of like 3 fastballs, a fastball, 2-seamer, cutter. He's also got the slider and the curveball that he doesn't throw as often, but this is a guy that will just shove fastballs down hitters' throats and dares them to beat them. And we mentioned Cease earlier. That's a guy that, you know, he's had a huge breakout season, but you want to talk about breakouts. Andrew Vaughn with a 301 batting average this year. This guy's been insane. Very good for him. Doesn't really have a defensive position hitting like a designated hitter this year, but that guy, he's been great for him. And it's just the matter of you have Jose Abreu, Lou Bob, and Anderson all playing well, and the rest of this team, it needs to step up a little bit, like in the batting order. There needs to be a couple more guys to emerge in this order, and I would be very, very comfortable in the White Sox moving forward because they do have Liam Hendricks in the back of that bullpen that has been one of the most proven and reliable closers in the game.
Yeah, Hendricks has had a little IL stint as well, had a little bit of a rest, so he should be back come the weekend. Moonaf, is there any more divisional plays that you like before we get onto our totals?
No, that was the only one. I think we had all agreement about the Cardinals, but I think that all the other divisions are pretty much runaway. The Yankees, the Astros, and I think it's going to be a 2-team battle between the Mets and the Braves, and we already talked about the NL Central as well, and Dodgers are running away with the NL West as well.
I think we'd be remiss to say, like, not include Dylan's Mariners. Like, they looked very good closing the season. Do you guys think that they could put up a fight with the Astros?
I think, and I was high on the Mariners as well. Me and both,
because they're 9 games back, but that's tough.
I think that maybe the better bet might be for them to make the playoffs. I don't know what that number is. Let me see if I can find that here, because last season they also made a run in the second half, and I think they were close to getting a playoff spot. And they've won 14 games in a row here.
They currently hold the second wild card spot, and there's 3 of them this year. So.
Yeah, so I think that one number was a little juiced at minus 175 for the it's minus 175. So you probably missed out on that number right now.
Last night.
Yeah, you probably missed out on that number right now for them to make the playoffs since they've won 14 in a row. But I think this is a team that might be a bet on team in the second half for sure.
Yeah, I think the Mariners are up at 22-1 or roundabout to overhaul the Astros. The Astros have a 98.8% chance of winning that division. So the Seattle Mariners are not a 22-1 shot. So yeah, save your money on that one.
And the Astros have one of the more easier schedules left as well.
Yeah, I got the impression that the Astros just had a little breather the last week or so. They just sort of just eased off a bit. They had that series at Oakland where they were just a little bit off the pace. Alvarez, they moved him. It was a little bit of preventative maintenance with Houston. So yeah, I think they're ready to come back strong.
Did you hear the stunt they pulled with Paul Blackburn, your boy?
No.
It was a nice gesture.
Yeah, stunt, nice gesture. It's good PR for the team. The trash can bangers. But no, Paul Blackburn, he was going to fly charter or Oakland. The Oakland Athletics team was going to get him a charter flight to commercial flight to Los Angeles, and the Houston Astros figured that out and offered him to jump on the flight with their all-stars and Dusty Baker and the coaching staff, and it was a nice gesture.
Yeah, that is a nice touch. Good knowledge. The totals then we will get to in a moment once I've told you about Ipvanish. Did you know that browsing online using incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Without added security, you might as well give away all your private data to hackers, advertisers, and other private eyes. That's why at SGPN we use Ipvanish VPN, which makes it easy to stay truly private and secure on the internet. It encrypts 100% of your data meaning your private details, passwords, communications, browsing history will be completely shielded from falling into the wrong hands. Even your physical location will be hidden. You can use Ipvanish on unlimited devices without sacrificing any speed. You can use it on your Fire Stick when you're streaming media as well. Ipvanish are offering an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners with a 30-day money-back guarantee, the equivalent of getting 9 months for free. It's dead easy to use, so take your privacy back today with a brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Go to ipvanish.com/SGP. Use the promo code SGP to claim your 70% savings. That's ipvanish.com/SGP. Okay, so we've got some totals up here for the second half of the season. Munaf, you can lead us off. How many and what were your overall underplays have you got for us?
Yeah, there's one team that really stuck out to me. I really like the under on, and that's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays in the second half of the season here. They do have the fourth hardest schedule remaining in the entire MLB to start the second half. They have 9 games against the Yankees, 6 against the Astros, 11 against the Blue Jays, and 9 against the Red Sox. I know they have owned the Red Sox so far this season, but I think that it's going to be a tough hill for them to climb, especially in this division. And I believe Wander Franco is going to miss another, I think, 4 to 5 weeks for this team. He's has that injury that he's dealing with, and I just don't think that they have enough offensively for them to kind of really, keep up in games. It's really been the past couple of seasons with the Tampa Bay Rays team is beyond their pitching, and I just don't think that offensively they have enough. So under 87.5 for the Tampa Bay Rays was the one I was looking at. Then Malcolm, you and I were talking about this offline, and I think we're both on the opposite side of this one, but I think there's a prop being offered. Most regular season wins by any team over 105.5 at -135. And I kind of highlighted 3 teams I think that can get over this number. Number 1, the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, and the LA Dodgers. I think you also did make a great point on why they may not get there, Malcolm, because all 3 of those teams have substantial leads in their divisions. I mean, they take the foot off the gas, but I just think that, if you kind of look at the strength of schedule left for some of these teams, I know the Yankees have, I believe, the 10th hardest schedule. Dodgers have an easier schedule, and then we talked about the Astros having, I think, the 6th or 7th most easy schedule remaining. So I think there is a possibility that one of these 3 teams can get over this number of 105.5 for their win or on this prop bet. We talked about the Dodgers when we were talking about them that, I think both Noah and I agree that they just haven't played their best baseball yet. They still only have 60 wins on this. They only have 60 wins on the season. So you're going to get Walker Buehler back. This offense is going to start raking. You had about a good week off here. I think they're going to come out and fire in the second half of the season. So I really like that over 105.5.
Okay, I agree with you on the Tampa Bay play, Munaf. I've got them at 86.6, looking at Fangraphs and another couple of projection systems. So the line that you give, it's a close one, 87.5. So not much underneath, but I agree with you on the Tampa Bay one. So yeah, I'll cover this over. Any team to finish over 105.5 on the grounds you've brought it up. And yeah, I had this written down as one of my big locks on the under, plus 110 as well, plus money. The Yankees coming in at 104, who are going to be the closest. And then the other 2 aren't really particularly close. I've got the Dodgers at 101 and Houston 100. So I'm not hugely concerned about that. They're 4.5 games off the pace. And yeah, so the Yankees 104. So really, for me, when you're handicapping that, we're saying there's 3 teams who've got a chance. I'm not sure there is. I think there's 1 team who've got a chance, and I'm happy to take them on at plus 110. So I'll take the opposite side of that one. I've got 1 or 2 other players as well, but we'll get Noah back involved. Noah, overs, what did you dig out?
Well, the one that I liked was St. Louis Cardinals over 86.5 wins. That was the one that really just hasn't moved, in my opinion, from the beginning. I think it might have been 85 at the beginning of the season. I still think there's plenty of value there, minus 120 on the over. But I'd like to settle or maybe mediate the debate on this. So the total is 10 what?
105.5.
So 105.5.
Any team to win 106.
So I think the angle by Malcolm may be a little flawed. I think it's better in the postseason because you look at it last year. I really liked the White Sox last year too. They ran away with the Yale Central. They were playing non-competitive games, but they were still winning them non-competitively throughout the rest of the regular season. And in the postseason, it really killed them as the Astros. I think they swept them. I really think that you could get some nice value come the end of the season on some of these wild card teams playing meaningful, competitive baseball games at the end of the season, playing for that wild card position against one of these three teams that have already locked up their division. I think there's actually four of them that have already locked up their division. I think there could be some value later on down the road with your handicap there.
Yeah, I think the taking the foot off the gas thing isn't even really factored into these totals as well. It's just it's an added something that might just shrink the numbers a little bit for me. I don't know if I've fallen into a trap here. When I looked at the totals that I like, because I ended up with 5, and they were pretty much, apart from Pittsburgh, 5 of the worst teams. So I've got the Nats, the Cubs, the Royals, the Reds, and the Athletics, all who I like to go over their number. All around about a game and a half, 2 games over the total. Now, I don't know why that would have come out that it's all the bad teams who were projected to go under that total. So I might have to temper my picks a little bit from that. The one I really do like, and I'll just give one out because I do feel like someone's just dug a hole and covered it with twigs and leaves and waited for me to come along and go head over tit straight into it. So the one I do like is the Cincinnati Reds. Their total is set at 65.5. I've got them getting to 67. I just expect them to have a better half of the season. They're going to play in that less than competitive division with the Pittsburgh and the Cubs. I think Joey Votto is going to have a better second half of the season. I'm expecting there's a couple of my guys on there, Moonaf Sky, Graham Ashcraft. We've got Hunter Green as well. And Cincinnati had that absolutely horrific start. Was it 3-21 or something?
Yeah.
So since then, if they can carry on the form that they've had since then I think they can get to that number relatively comfortably. So I'll just pick out the one because, like I say, I'm slightly concerned about why all the bottom teams. And the other one I've got going right to the other end of the spectrum is the Dodgers, and I think this is it's a fade. I'm going to take the under 103.5. Again, I've got that total going to 101, which gives me a nice little buffer of 2.5 games. So I think the Dodgers can come in under there and relatively comfortably. So yeah, they're my 2 picks on the totals. Moonaf, have you got anything else that you've any specials, any exotics, or anything that we might have just missed over the last hour or so that you need to tell us about?
No, I think the ones that I really liked, I gave out. I agree about 100% about the Cardinals that Noah talked about. I think we all agree on for them to either get over their win total of 86.5 or even win their division at plus 140, plus 150, whatever you're, plus 150, what we're looking at in front of us. I think those are my favorite ones in the second half of the season. But other than that, everything else kind of seems spot on to me. If you really want something juicy, something exciting, I think Blue Jays to miss the playoffs at plus 370 is maybe something you want to take a look at, because I just feel like that they're in a division where the Red Sox should play better. The Yankees are still going to chug along. And again, those other teams that are coming up in that AL Central division, that it's going to be a battle down the stretch, that they're going to win games as well. Mariners are on that hot streak. We talked about it. So if you want something juicy at more than 3-1 odds, maybe take a look at Blue Jays missing the playoffs.
Moon, have you got a price on the Phillies to make the playoffs there at all?
Yeah, give me a second. I can look that up.
You figure it out. Noah, anything else that we've missed? Anything else you want to point out to us?
Phillies to make it minus 115.
Yeah, miss it one is minus 105.
Make it okay. That's okay. That's just about spot on, actually. Okay, ignore me. Noah, anything else you want to tell us about?
No, there weren't many team futures that I really, really liked. I will add analysis on both of you guys. Last year, Malcolm, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in the MLB that finished under 65.5 wins last year. So with your analysis there, maybe they just decide to completely tank. But this Reds team, I'll shout out the article. They've got some great contributions, even with this terrible record so far. Jeff Fox over at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, he's also the host of the MMA Gambling Podcast, wrote this Fantasy Baseball All-Stars article, and Brandon Drury's played out of his mind. He's got a 279 batting average, 55 runs scored, 18 home runs, 51 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. Him at second base, he's really been one of the best fantasy baseball second basemen on the year. He was rated 307th heading into the year, and now he's currently at 32. So go check out that article by Foxy. Then, sorry, go ahead.
No, nothing. I didn't realize you had more to add. Go on, crack on.
No, I wanted to add some analysis on Munaf. So Munaf is down on the Rays and the Blue Jays possibly. Blue Jays is kind of like a Naviance play where they could miss the playoffs. So if those are 2 teams that currently hold, where are they at right now in the wild card standings? This is just me kind of trying to add another play. Yes, they're two teams that currently hold playoff positions. You look at behind them, if they're supposed to have worse second halves, do you like the Red Sox, Guardians, Orioles, White Sox, Rangers, Angels? Out of those teams that are kind of right behind them, they're less than 5 games behind. What team do you like most to get to the playoffs?
White Sox would be 1.
Minus 140.
I think Guardians would be the other one.
And Guardians are plus 220.
Yeah.
Not a bad play.
Yeah.
I like that.
The Guardians is a fair price, I think. They've got a sort of 35-40% chance maybe of making the playoffs.
So I think maybe the Rays and the White Sox is the good switch. But if you're also thinking about the Blue Jays, the Guardians might be that next team up. Might not be a bad play.
Excellent. Cheers for all of that, Noah. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we've cracked it. We've knocked out a solid hour there. Some decent starts for our picks for the early part of the season. We've got a couple of live fancy priced players, Jordan Alvarez, Dylan Cease, people like that, Kenley Jansen going to win some of the player markets.
You don't want to touch on MVP, Cy Young stuff?
If you've got anything, mate, you can go through it.
I've got a couple of stuff written down that we could talk about.
Okay.
So I think the pitching base right now, there's been a lot of young breakout starting pitchers that I think have shifted the market a little bit. You look at Shane McClanahan, he's plus 205 right now. He's the betting favorite in the AL. He's 10-3 with 14 quality starts. He is the number 1 overall best ERA in the MLB at 171, and he's tied for second in the MLB with 147 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 110.2 innings pitched. Do you guys think that the Rays might slow his innings down coming in the second half of the season?
Go ahead, Malcolm.
Go on, Munaf.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That was me. No, that was my answer.
I think if we like talking about narratives on this show, and I know that Justin Verlander is just like right behind him. He has 2 more wins.
Mm-hmm.
His ERA is still below 2. He's on a team that's going to win the division. He's coming off a Tommy John surgery.
Yep.
His whip is below 1. His WAR is at 3, which is I think it's second. No, it's third in the National League. As far as pitchers, no, I think it's a little further down that. But, I mean, how can you kind of ignore that narrative with Justin Verlander? I mean, at plus 260, I think that's worth putting some money on there.
And it's not just us. The people that vote on these awards are writers. And who are the ones that spin the narratives? It's the writers, the Baseball Writing Association. So coming off of TJ and having a solid season, I don't even think he has to be the best pitcher in the AL to win this award.
Yeah, and I think that if he gets to 20 wins, you have to give it to him.
Yeah. So that was one of the plays that I really liked. And the second play, I'll also talk about and maybe reinforce one of yours. It's Alec Manoa, because he's still at plus 1,800 on a team that most people expect to do better in the second half. The plus 370 is kind of like a backup plan if all of our stuff doesn't go right with Manoa and some of these Blue Jays plays like Vladdy home runs and other guys on this team for RBIs and stuff. But he has 15 quality starts of his 18 starts, like you mentioned earlier in the podcast. And he's got a 2.28 ERA, and this kid, he could be the ace of a staff that a lot of people love. And that's another narrative that, might help come voting time. But like, other breakouts that I just wanted to mention was Tony Gonsolin. He's been great. Could he regress in the second half?
I mean, at 11-0, he kind of has to regress, doesn't he?
Right.
I'll put Gun in that 1,200. So I was going to ask that in my in that June article I put up. Tony Gonsolin was my pick. He was 20-1 at the time. So yeah, he's kind of nearly halved in price. But
I don't think he's like him as a. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, I just think he's a still alive runner, and on this Dodgers team, and why not? I don't think he's there. That 12-1 will be there much longer either.
No, I don't think he's gonna have enough innings under his belt for him to win the award because he's only at 93 2/3 innings pitch. Where you're looking at some of the other guys in the National League, like Corbin Burns, who's at 113, Sandy Alcantara 138, which is the leader right now for innings pitch, and I think that he's an odds-on favorite in the National League for a reason.
He is, and the innings really kind of hurts Gonsolin's accumulative total on some of those like good stats that people like to look at and strikeouts and the walk rate and stuff like that, because this is a guy that he has 86 strikeouts. You look at Alcantara, who's the betting favorite, and he's got 123 in 138.1 innings. That leads the MLB. And then right behind him in betting odds, it's plus 600, Corbin Burns with 144 strikeouts. And that's the guy that I like the most for NL Cy Young. And I think, Malcolm, you had him preseason, correct? Corbin
Yes,
Burns.
that is correct. Yes.
So I really like this play at plus 600 right now. I think it. What did you get it at preseason? I don't really think the odds. I think it might have gotten even better.
Let me see if we have a number on it.
So as you're looking
14, not 4, 14-1.
Oh, 14-1. Okay,
I think that's for strikeout leaders.
And the
Cy Young, he was 8-1.
8-1. Okay, so the value is definitely not diminished, and there's only one guy for him to beat right now, and that's Alcantara. Alcantara, he's going nuts with his innings right now. Maybe the Marlins back him off with them not being in contention for a wild card. Maybe at the end of the season, maybe they pull him off and they preserve him for years down the road. And you look at Burns right now, he's 7-4 with 14 quality starts. He's got 2.14 ERA, 144 strikeouts, 29 walks, and 133.2 innings pitched. There's only one other pitcher other than Alcantara that's even in the competition for most innings pitched, and that's Burns. And Burns is out there K'ing up guys like it's nobody's business. I really like him. And then the value play in the NL that I like is Aaron Nola. He doesn't have the prettiest record right now, but if this is a Phillies team that gets into the playoffs for the first time in how long, that's another narrative that people might like voting on this. He's 6-7, 11 quality starts. He's got a 3.13 ERA, 137 strikeouts, which is a crazy amount for only 11 quality starts. He could get better in the second half here. He's only got 16 walks on the year and 126.2 innings pitched. He's the next guy in that rung for innings pitched that could add to the strikeout total that a lot of people get attracted to, like last year with Robbie Ray.
What price is Nola at the moment, Noah?
Nola's plus 3,500.
Okay, he was plus 2,000 when I knocked that up at the start of June. Yeah, so a little bit of a drift there for Aaron Nola. Anything else you want to tell us about Noah?
You want to move on to MVP?
If you want to.
So
if you want to.
Preseason, I had Ohtani at plus 400. The value's kind of diminished. It's at minus 115. I think he's still the pick to win in the AL, just because this guy's doing incredible stuff, and it's another narrative. He's pitching and hitting at a good to great rate, because I don't think he's going to get enough innings to win the Cy Young. I think he's been a much better pitcher this year. Last year, he was a very, very good hitter. The hitting has kind of diminished. He's only hitting 252 with 19 home runs in the first half. But he has a 4.9 WAR, which is third in the MLB. That's probably still my pick in the AL. But the only other guy in the competition there is Aaron Judge. If he goes on another run in the second half, Aaron Judge batting 284 right now with 33 home runs. He's leading the league in that category. That's another stat that a lot of people get attracted to come voting time for the MVP. But the NL is very interesting with Goldschmidt being the betting favorite. And in the second half, I don't know if it's going to be Goldschmidt or Arenado that's the best player on this team. Arenado is plus 3,000, and he's currently second in WAR. And that's like, I'm not huge on WAR, but that is what a lot of these voters use. And Arenado, he's hitting 293 with 18 home runs, 59 RBIs. This is a guy that could be a nice value play. And also, Munaf and I had Trey Turner preseason. I really like Turner right now at 17-1. He's hitting 306 with 17 stolen bases, 14 home runs. He's doing everything that you expected him to do for this Dodgers team. And another guy to look at is maybe Manny Machado. He's the second betting favorite there in the NL.
Okay. Anything else, Noah?
No, that's it today.
Hey, surprising me with most stuff. I'll put up Tommy Edman at 88-1. Another Cardinal. Yeah, just as
it's crazy.
As a sneaky pick.
Yeah, this Cardinals team has been crazy under radar. That's for sure.
Yeah, hopefully they can get us over the line at plus 150. Well, thank you very much, Noah, for all your hard work and input, Munaf.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much for joining us as well, Munaf. Anything else happening this week? Are you all baseball?
I am just enjoying this time off right now. Monday, was it tonight's the All-Star game where we're going to be recording a little early here for overnight release, but just going to enjoy in a couple of days off. We have some baseball games I will handicap tomorrow, I believe, for the Thursday game. So just look out for that. But definitely excited for the month of August.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go through the gears now between now and the end of the season. Thanks everyone for listening. We do appreciate it. Good luck if you're having a little dabble. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.